Way back when I talked about Going Home, my first real foray into walking simulators, as they tend to be called, where you don't have combat, you don't have quick time events, you don't have pulse-pounding action. You literally just explore an environment, interact with various interactables, and get a narrative delivered to you in a more immersive fashion than TV or films. And as someone who plays most games for the story, there are a few turn your brain off things that I do enjoy, granted, but for the most part I'm there for the story. I don't know why I sat on walking simulators as a genre for so long. Maybe because of the sort of negative connotations of that term that have arisen over time. But if you've enjoyed things like Dreamful Chapters and walking simulators, you probably would enjoy today's entry, Draugen by Red Thread Games. In fact, they even made Dreamful Chapters, which is why you'd enjoy it. But this is a very dark, very sad tale at its core. But of course, like all of these things, it starts with hope and positivity. The character of Lissy is delightful. Edward himself, is... what's not delightful? He's an interesting character, and you basically portray him. You are walking as him. And you are trying to uncover what happened to Betty. The voice work in this is amazing, which you'd expect out of people like Nicholas Boulton, Sky Bennett, and a small but important part by Jane Perry. All of these people gave everything to this. And if you can pick up the game and the art book and soundtrack, do, because Simon Poole has made an amazing soundtrack. It really immerses you in this world. It has stings when it needs to, it's mellow when it needs to, it's got creep when it needs to, and it also conveys the beauty of this Norwegian landscape. This is a Fjord Noir, as it's been termed, and I love that term for it because it is a detective tale. You go through trying to piece together, where is Betty? You pick up a bunch of things that she may have dropped, so you feel like you're ever getting closer to her. You're constantly on the verge, and that is what drives Edward throughout this whole thing, much to Lissy's chagrin. And you do start to see this tension rise. It's interesting how it gates off certain areas and sort of guides you down the narrative, but you don't ever feel like you're being forced. It doesn't feel like your hand is being held. You're not being told, go to objective X. You are literally free to explore, but there are things that are dropped in, like, oh, she may be over there. Eddie will just be like, maybe if I go to the church, I'll find some more information. And that sets the mind of you, the player, as you are playing as Edward, to go to the church. You're like, yes, that would make sense narratively. Let's go to the church. Maybe there's something there. And so you hunt the church, you look at the graveyard, then you'll go to various other places. You'll go to the abandoned shops and things like that. Where is everyone in this town? What happened to everybody? And why do you keep finding these little mementos, I guess, of Elizabeth and not finding Elizabeth? Now, I always like to preface my videos with spoilers ahead, but this time, because I don't want to make two videos, I'm really going to have to say right now, this is the cut-off point. If you've not played it and you want to uncover the mystery yourself, do not watch further, because I want to talk about so much that relies upon knowing what the plot ends up like. So this is your warning. I've given you plenty of time while I've been waffling. That's been the point, to give you time to click away. So if you're watching from this point onwards, it's on you if you didn't want it spoiled. But the twist at the end got me. Because I played it during this whole lockdown situation, so I've not been in the best of places. I've put a brave face on, but it's not easy. But having this way to explore some gorgeous countryside with people a person, was nice. But the ending of it, I think, just helped me release a lot of the pent-up stress and frustration I'd got, because the reveal that all these things you're collecting were not anything to do with Elizabeth whatsoever, but they were just random things that you attributed, meaning you wanted so much to find this woman, but then you realised that you were never going to find her at all. The earlier twist that I did foresee, that Lissy was all in your head, was also a shock. When also she disappears, and I felt the panic of Edward. It's like, she's gone. Oh no, what have I done? Can I get her back? I felt those moments. I felt them very keenly. I'm very emotionally sensitive, in the best of times. But those two big moments really hit me, and then the reveal that the title, Draugen, I probably said that weirdly Germanic instead of Norwegian, but it basically means drowned, as far as I understand it. And that's what happened to Elizabeth. The title was telling you all along what the twist was. But I still enjoyed the twist when it came. I didn't know that it was going to be Betty had died. I thought Lissy was like a sister maybe that had died. And he'd find Betty and she'd be like, look, I was giving you space because you needed to deal or something. But that's why I say Jane Perry's voice acting is very important in this, because the entity that she plays and also the voiceovers of Betty, it's a very small part by comparison to the other two, yet it's so crucial. This was an emotional ride at the end, and when he leaves, kind of healed, really. As much as it's hurt him to have this revelation, as much as he has had to come to terms with this again because he keeps doing this, he leaves sort of better. And that's always a good thing. I've often said, well, later on in life really, that change is good, because change is growth. And we all need to grow and we need to change throughout our lives. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And neither are you. We all have some kind of trauma or something that has shaped us, some big event that has had an impact on our lives, positive or negative. It doesn't have to be traumatic to influence you. And I think that's a very crucial thing to take away from this. It is about coming to terms with whatever you need to come to terms with and growing from that. And I can't think of any person who won't get something good out of this. I don't consider these games. They are experiences. They're interactive fiction. And if you've watched to this point and had the twist spoiled again, I did say that was your warning. But still, if you want to experience it for yourself, go do it. If you haven't played it for a while, I know it's only been out a year or so, but if you haven't played it for a while, if you played it at release and haven't touched it since, go and give it another go and see if you spot some of the hints earlier on. Why not? But that's all I want to say on this. I'll be back next time with something different. But until then, as always, thank you for watching and really take care.